Welcome back to the channel, you guys. I am the founder of a solo music brand. I specialize in performance and one-on-one coaching. So before this gigging world where I am now playing electric cello covers all over the place, I didn't really know anything about tips or any etiquette, standards, expectations. I knew nothing, okay? But I think it is good for us to understand the importance of gig etiquette and how to contribute to a successful music career. Understanding tipping in the music industry. So tipping is one way that audience likes to connect with you. So the historical perspective on tipping as a classical artist was kind of frowned upon, to be honest. First time I received tips from live performance was when I was a third year cellist and at the Aspen Music Festival, and I was already learning how to monetize my talents and have fun in the town of Aspen. I realized that, wow, I can get a couple of my friends, pack out like a quartet from the music library, play for a couple of hours when we had some downtime, play on the street of Aspen, and we'd make a few $100s. So this is when I started to understand, oh, just on tips. And we were not practicing together. We were not performing virtuoso style. We were literally sight reading with a book that we had checked out from the library. This is how I understood tipping for the first time as a third year music student at a music festival in Aspen. Now let's talk about common tipping standards and customs. I want to break down the different types of gigs that I've done and their associated tipping norms, okay? I've done weddings, corporate events, outdoor events, indoor house parties, public music festival, entertainment, and live music services to kind of catch a glimpse of what's happening in these different types of entertainment spaces. And this is what I've learned. Personally speaking, I've only have 3 years of solo performance experience under my brand as of right now, and I'm freaking killing it out there, which is why I am promoting this, because so can you. And this is what I've learned. I always felt like it was weird for me to ask for tips or even have a tip jar at corporate events, parties, backyard, and all these other places. But I was so wrong. Whether you are a hired musician by the party host or you are hired by an event company, you are expected to interact and connect with the guests and an audience in a way that will add to the event and the people they're coordinating and putting the function together. Most of the times I realize that many people are sort of intimidated to come approach us. They think that they are maybe interrupting, or they're not too sure what to say or to even interact, that they don't know how to strike up a conversation. And I think some just want to come over and want to tip you, hoping that it would open up some sort of conversational door. And I think that's great. Obviously, I'm going to say thank you and want to get their names and connect with them. So that was one way I realized that people wanted to connect with me everywhere, every type of gig. Even at private house parties, my client and the owner of the house asked, along with their house guests, hey man, we love your music, thank you so much for entertaining us. How come you don't have a tip jar? Because my guests love you, my party guests want to be able to get to know you. Where is your tip jar? And that's when I started to realize, oh, okay, tipping isn't like a woo taboo, like desperate cringy thing. It is really culturally how audience interacts with a musician on a live performance setting. I play at a restaurant locally on a weekly basis with a celebrity chef, Tiffany Derry. Shout out to Master Chef D. And I've learned a lot about tips. Sometimes it is completely random. In fact, most of the times it is seasonal, and the temperature and the weather plays a part of it. I don't know, like something must be in the air, because I would do the same type of things, and I have a hype routine that I do before I perform. That way I'm bringing the best energy to attract viewers and audience. And some days I would bring the same energy and I would be having so many audience dining guests come talk to me, want to engage in conversations. We're taking pictures, we are chatting, exchanging information. I've had a lot of those nights where I made $0 in tips, and some nights where, I wasn't feeling my best, but obviously I am performing, I am making connections, eye contact and whatnot, and I'll make $100. So from what I've realized, aside from me putting in what I generally put in as far as like my energy and my performance, it all varies. And for that reason, I don't think it is logical or even smart for musicians to expect any tip, because like you just can't know and you can't tell. All right, I want to talk about practical tips for musicians. So I think this is a good way for us to, one, build rapport with audience. This is a good conversation for all of us to be having. And this is my very basic, handy QR code that I carry. I carry so much stuff, I can't afford to carry other things, but it's just a QR code and it's not necessarily a tip jar or anything. When you scan, it will take you to my link tree, and from there you will be able to have access to all my social buttons, including Venmo, as well as all the buttons that you can press to fill out an inquiry, book a trial lesson with me, or to inquire about the event. This is a one link, one QR code gets you into the whole JCCS, and you can communicate with me, visit my website, or watch my sample YouTube videos. Everything can be done from one QR code, including accessing my Venmo. So if you're a musician and you don't know what to do with like tip jars and all these other things and you're not really sure, just stick it in your link and have it this way. That way you don't forget it. I haven't done this myself yet, but I've noticed other musicians carry these custom signs and QR codes or pictures or scannable things that are very cute, super personable, has their logos, and these are custom things that you can make or get made at Etsy, and that's another way for you to engage and make some sort of personal connection with the audience. And if you haven't done that, you're interested in doing that, I highly recommend you trying that out, and let me know how it goes. I want to talk about handling non-tip situations for musicians so that we know. These are the situations where tipping may not occur, and these are the conversations maybe you want to have upon signing and onboarding your prospective music client. That way they understand, oh, you'll be bringing merch to your show, or you are going to have like a live tip jar. These are some things that you can definitely put in your music contract if you are a solo music brand. Understanding that we don't always receive tips. I really just purely look at tips as just like an extra money, because I already make what I need to make upon signing my client. So anything I make in addition to that is just really extra. So if I end up getting a lot of tips, that's great. That means I'm probably just gonna use it as fun money and maybe buy little cute things for my kids, or just go out to eat and splurge on Uber Eats. But if I don't get tips, then it seems like a normal night. I've done my job. I've had an amazing exposure through a paid gig that empowers my music brand, and I get to really penetrate my communities and show my live performances. So think of it that way. I think that's a good way to be a good sport about not receiving tips, because I think personally, weddings is not a place where I would have a tip jar out. In fact, I don't think I've ever had that, but depending on the circumstances, you never know. However, I'm going to always have my information out so they know my name, they know what I do, that they know that I can play these weddings for their daughter, their friends, their neighbor, whatnot, and provide this awesome musical experience. All right, I think that kind of sums up for today's YouTube video, where I talked a lot about tips and the standards and the customs and my experience as a solo musician in the music industry who's been performing live gigs for about only 3 years. If you found this information helpful, or it struck up a memory or recollection of your past experience that may be different from what I've talked about, please share them in the comments. I'd love to hear them. You've seen my videos a couple times and you're starting to really like the type of content I create. You need to like and subscribe. So I'm on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook as well. So if you are not already following me on there and you're a subscriber, definitely want to keep up with me on these platforms as I share slightly different contents across these social platforms. It was good seeing you guys. I will see you guys soon.